Hello, it's Tilly. I apologize if you can't see me really well, but ugh, I'm telling you, this room may look kind of cool from what you see of it. I have definitely, done my, I don't know, made it my own with weird things hanging on the wall and whatever, but, it's definitely not supposed to be a bedroom. There's a, all-purpose rug covering the floor that's covered in, cigarette burns, and, I have spilled my coffee all over the rug more times than I can count, and I always pour rug cleaning stuff over it and cover up the mess with a towel, but I don't really get down and scrub. So yeah, it's just gross, and no matter how much, I have to keep it tidied because I just can't deal with it being both gross and messy. Yeah, I've spent the last couple of hours feeling like I've got a lot of energy. I slept so well last night. I did a good job. I put myself to bed, which I've been having a lot of problems doing lately. Every night it's and I know what it goes back to, just fear about sleeping, but, I've been doing this horrible sleeping every other night thing that is just not, it's hurting my health, and it's hurting my mental health, if you just read a little bit about the effects of sleep deprivation, even just one day sleep deprivation, it's not a very good thing to do, especially on a regular basis like that. So I put myself to bed last night. I was feeling shittier and shittier throughout the night, and I went ahead and just, I almost have to trick myself at night to take my trazodone, because it's kind of I've mentioned before, trazodone sort of mimics the effect of an off switch. It's the off button. It's the force quit button on the computer. When everything is freezing up on your computer, you Control Alt Delete or whatever, shuts it off. But the thing is, there's no going back. Which, it's fine. It's fucking fine. But you know why it scares me? With PTSD, why would it scare you to take a medication that will knock you the fuck out, and you cannot do anything about it, and will render you completely unable to wake up, and if something's going on, or someone breaks in, or something like that, I would never know it, And in my situation right now in this house, I have a pretty good system set up of making sure that nobody can get in, especially at night, always locking down everything, and a little bit of barricading too, but it's just the thought that, I want to be. It's hypervigilance. And, that's one of the most annoying, symptoms of PTSD I found. And it's one of the longest, even, I don't know. I wonder, does hypervigilance eventually get a little less? Because, for me, a lot of the things have gotten less bad. My dissociation, once I realized that's what was happening, I've made a lot of strides with it. Sometimes I just can't control it, and, you know, have times where it's not in control, but, you know, I definitely have made a lot of progress with that, and I know some ways to try to get myself back. Speaking of that, the YouTube user Destiny Someone, she does a lot of videos where she actually does talk about, like, tips about when you're dissociating, and how, like, ways to come out of it. And she's got a lot of wise videos, so I would really suggest, if you're watching me now and you share these problems, that you check her out, Destiny Someone. Anyway, but what I'm getting at is, and the flashbacks too, it's like sometimes they're inevitable and I can't stop them, but I know through therapy, but more through my own, like, research and watching tons and tons of YouTube videos on dealing with PTSD and reading articles and whatnot about PTSD. I have learned, you know, some things to help me manage flashbacks even. One thing is I want to close my eyes when I'm having one, but it's not a good idea to close my eyes because that just makes the flashback completely vivid, and it also kind of makes me distort time and everything around me. I can't see it, and I'm so focused on the flashback that's happening. You know, the visual in my mind's eye, I can just see it playing out, and so it's not good to close my eyes, you know. And I've also found that, what is the other thing with flashbacks? Oh, yeah. When I realize that I'm starting to have one, it's funny because it's like, it's always me versus my brain. And my brain doesn't stop. It never turns off. You know, even if I'm, you know, it never quiets. And that's why a lot of times, for me, like, watching something on TV or watching a movie or something like that, or, you know, doing relaxing, you know, things like that, it doesn't matter. My brain doesn't turn off. And if I'm just, like, sitting in front of a TV trying to, like, empty my brain out and just not think about anything, it just makes me get angry and irritated and irritable, you know. But anyway, so, like, when I'll start thinking about a memory, and at first I think it's just a memory, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember that. And then I start to feel this thing in my chest where my heart is. You know, my heart rate starts to go up a little. And it's like, okay, wait, that's a sign. This isn't just a memory, this is going to be a flashback. If I'm physiologically starting to feel something happen alongside of having a memory, I know what that means. But but I've learned to keep my eyes open and insert mumbo-jumbo thought into my head. Like, literally, if I have to do it out loud, I'll do it out loud, but usually I just try to, you know, not appear that whack, but, you know, to just be like, blah, 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 you know, like, in my mind, just, like, totally, you know, start to think, like, whatever random thing I can think of, like, oh, I'm thinking about Peter Pan. Remember the time in that movie, Peter Pan, where, blah, 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 you know, and I was just, like, just immediately start thinking gibberish. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't have to make sense. But it distracts me. You know what I'm saying? So, it kind of just, like, a memory, you have to kind of focus on a memory sort of to have it play out in your mind. Ugh, double text message, really? So if you try to focus on something else, a lot of times it's impossible. But I'm not feeling so good today. But yeah, inserting like gibberish thought and keeping my eyes open is whatever, it helps. But with the hypervigilance, I just don't know. It sucks because honestly, to tell you the truth, I can't listen to music very often, and I hate that because I love music so much. But I can't let myself go from the hypervigilance. I am so afraid that I am going to not hear something if I play music. So I spend a lot of time down here where it's silent time. No noise. You know. And I notice too, whenever I go out places, which is less and less. Ouch. Funny that just happened. My ear started like squealing. I'm very sensitive to noise. Very. If there's a lot of noise going on, I have to get out because it sounds like all the noises just sound like they're just merging together, and they're scary and ominous, and I can't, if I'm with someone who's trying to talk to me, they could be standing right in front of me, talking directly to me, and I can't decipher whose voice is who, what's coming from what, and it's ridiculous. But so hypervigilance. I don't remember what I started this video talking about, but I'm gonna cut it off now because it looks like I might be having a visitor or something. I don't know what's gonna happen, but all of a sudden I just got really nervous and I feel kind of sick to my stomach, but it'll all be okay. So yeah, that's my video today.